My name is Margaret,
imagined that
though
a
everyone
trip
close
to a
to me
hotel
calls
with
my
my grandson
grandson
would
I
change the
never
way I
thought
looked at
I
life,
would one day be telling a
family,
story that
and the
changed
bonds we
not
often
only
take
my
for
life,
granted.
but
My
also
name is
the way
Margaret,
I saw my
though
family,
everyone
my
calls me
past,
Maggie,
and the
and
quiet
I'm in my
blessings of
early
every day.
60s.
My
Life as a
husband,
grandmother
Charles,
had
had gone on a
often filled
week-long
with
business
small
trip to
routines,
Chicago.
little joys,
He still worked
and the
part-time,
tender
even though we were
satisfaction
both
of
supposed
seeing
to be
children
retired,
he once
but
raised
he
now
loved
raising
staying children
busy.
of their own.
I stayed
But
behind in our
sometimes
quiet little
those
town in
ordinary
North
days
Carolina,
shift into
where we
something
had raised our
extraordinary,
children
and
and
all
watched
it
our
takes
grandkids
is a
grow up.
single moment
Our
to
daughter,
remind you of
Laura,
what really
called
matters.
me 2 days
It
before
all
Charles
happened
left.
one summer evening
She
when my
asked
daughter,
if I could help out
Emily,
with her son,
and her husband,
Ethan,
Daniel,
while she
had
covered
gone on a
extra
short
shifts
trip
at
for
the
their
hospital.
anniversary.
Ethan was
They
12
asked if
years
I could stay
old,
at their house
full
for
of
a few
energy
days to watch
and
their
endlessly
8-year-old
curious.
son. My
I adore
grandson,
him,
Noah.
but I'll
Of
admit
course,
I
I
agreed.
wasn't sure if I
I
could keep up
adore
with him
Noah
for a
more
whole
than
week on
anything,
my own.
and I
Laura
never passed up a
sounded
chance
so
to spend
tired
time
over
with
the
him.
phone that I quickly
packed
agreed.
a small bag,
The plan
drove
had been
the
for
30
Ethan to
minutes
stay
to
at my
their home,
house, and
but
settled
a
in for
pipe
what
in
I
the
thought would be a
upstairs bathroom
simple few
decided
days of
to
storytelling,
burst the
pancake
very night
breakfasts,
Charles
and
left.
maybe a game
The plumber
or
said
two
it
of
would take
baseball in the
3
backyard.
days to fix.
Noah was
That's
always
when
a
I made a
bright,
snap decision.
curious child.
Instead of trying to
full
manage
of
the mess at
energy
home,
and endless
I booked
questions
a
about the
room at a
world.
hotel nearby.
He had this way
It
of
wasn't
looking at
anything
things that
extravagant,
reminded me of my own
just a
children when
cozy
they were
family
little,
friendly and with
but
a
with a
small
sharper
indoor
awareness
pool,
that
free
felt
breakfast,
beyond his years,
and a view of the
he was
mountains in the
playful, but
distance.
sometimes when he
When
got
I
quiet,
told Ethan we'd
I
be
could
staying
almost
at a
see his
hotel,
little mind racing.
his eyes lit up
as
like
if he
it
was
was
piecing
Christmas
together
morning.
puzzles
A
adults often
hotel
ignored.
with a pool.
That first night,
Grandma,
we had dinner
this
together.
is going to be
macaroni
epic,
and
she
cheese,
exclaimed,
because he
throwing
said
his
that was his
backpack into
favorite.
the car
though
with
I made sure to
dramatic
sneak
flair.
in a side of
His
green
excitement
beans.
was contagious.
After dinner,
and for the
we
first
read
time
his
in
favorite
weeks,
book about a
I
brave
felt
dog
a flutter
who saved a
of
town
youthful
during a
energy
storm.
myself.
I kissed
We
his
checked into the
forehead,
hotel,
tucked him
on
in,
a rainy
and
Thursday
told him I
afternoon.
loved him.
The
He smiled,
smelled
hugged
faintly
his
of
stuffed
coffee
bear,
and cinnamon,
and whispered
and
goodnight.
Ethan immediately
I
pressed
thought that
his
would be
nose
the
to
end
the
of the
glass
day.
case of
I
pastries on
slipped
the
into the
counter.
guest room,
Our
read
room
a
was
few
simple
pages
but
from the
comfortable.
novel I'd brought,
2 queen
and
beds
drifted
with
off into
crisp white
sleep.
sheets.
I don't
a
know how
desk,
long I'd been
a
asleep
flat-screen
when I
television,
heard the faint
and a
creak
big
of my
window
door.
overlooking the
It was
parking
dark,
lot,
and
the
beyond
kind of
that,
deep darkness
the
where
rolling
even the
hills
shadows
of the Blue
seemed to
Ridge
vanish.
Mountains.
And for a
Ethan
moment,
bounced
I
from
thought
one
I
bed
might
to
be
the other,
dreaming. But
testing
then
the
I heard a
springs
small voice
before sprawling
Grandma?
across both
It
with
was
his arms
Noah.
outstretched.
I sat up
This
quickly,
is awesome,
my
Grandma.
heart thumping
It's
just
like
a little.
mini vacation,
Noah?
he said.
Sweetheart,
I couldn't help but
what are you
laugh,
doing awake?
though a part of me
I
worried
asked
I wouldn't
softly,
be able to keep him
reaching to turn
entertained
on
for
the
the
lamp
next
at
few
my
days.
bedside. That
He
evening,
stood there in the
after
doorway,
a quick dinner
his
at a
pajamas
nearby
rumpled,
diner,
his
we
little
returned to
feet
the
bare
hotel.
against the wooden
Ethan
floor.
begged me to let him
His
swim
eyes
in the
were
indoor
wide,
pool,
not
and
scared
even though
exactly,
I hadn't packed a
but
swimsuit,
full of something I couldn't
agreed.
quite place.
I sat by the
He stepped
water's
closer,
edge with a
and
paperback
his
novel
voice
while
was
he
barely
splashed
above a whisper.
Dove and
I
made
couldn't
friends with
sleep.
2 other kids
I
around
had a
his
dream.
age. I watched him
patted
play
the bed beside
and
me,
thought about how
"Come here,
fast he was
baby.
growing up.
Sit with
It
me."
seemed only yesterday that I was
his
rocking
small
him to
frame
sleep in his
curling
nursery.
into mine, as
Now
if he
he
had
was
done it
almost a
100
teenager,
times.
with a quick
His hair
wit and a
smelled
smile
faintly
that
of the
reminded
shampoo
me
his
so
mother
much of
always
Laura
used
at
on
his
him.
age. And his
Later
little
that
hands
night,
fidgeted with the
after
edge
Ethan
of the
had
blanket
showered and put on
What
his
kind
pajamas,
of dream?
I
We
asked
climbed
gently.
into our separate beds.
He looked up at me.
He asked
His
if we could watch a
expression
movie
so
together.
serious it
I
startled
found
me.
a family comedy
I
on
saw
the hotel's
Grandpa.
cable.
My
and
heart
we
stopped
laughed
for
until
just a
tears
second.
streamed down my
My
cheeks.
husband,
Somewhere
Henry,
between
had
giggles,
passed away
Ethan
3
turned
years
to me
ago, and
Noah
said
had been
something that
only
stopped
5 at
me
the
in my
time.
tracks.
And though he
Grandma,
loved Henry dearly,
you're way cooler than
I
I thought you'd
often
be.
wondered how much
No
he
offense.
truly remembered of him.
I chuckled,
Emily,
but
and I
inside
sometimes
my
told
heart
him
swelled.
stories to keep his memory
None
alive.
taken, sweetheart.
But it had been a while
I told
since he
him.
had brought him up.
I'm glad you think
saw
I'm cool.
Grandpa?
I
Even if it took you
repeated,
12 years
trying
to
to keep my
realize
voice
it.
steady.
What I didn't expect
He
was
nodded,
how much
his
this little
eyes
hotel
glistening
stay
with
would
a
turn into an
strange mixture
opportunity
of
for
wonder
deeper
and
conversations.
Yeah.
Over the next few
He was
days,
sitting in a chair,
we explored the
smiling.
nearby town.
He told me to tell
sampled
you
ice
something.
cream at a local shop.
My breath
and
caught in
even
my
went
throat.
hiking on a short
I didn't
trail
know what
behind
to
the
say.
hotel.
Children's
Ethan asked
dreams
me
can be
questions about my
wild and
childhood,
imaginative. imaginative
about how
of
I met
course,
his grandpa,
but there was
and
a
what
weight
life
in
was
Noah's
like before
tone
cell
that
phones
felt
and
different.
the internet.
As though he
His
truly
curiosity
believed
amazed
every
me,
word.
and I
What did
realized
he
how
say?
little I'd shared
I
with
asked,
him about my own
my
story.
voice almost
One
trembling.
night, as
Noah
rain drummed
paused,
steadily
as
against
though
the hotel
searching
window,
for the right words.
Ethan climbed
Finally,
into my
he
bed.
whispered, he
said
said,
the storm
"Tell
was
Grandma
keeping him
I'm
awake.
proud of her." And
I let him
she doesn't
snuggle
have
under
to
the
be
covers,
sad anymore.
just like
Tell
I
her
used
I
to
see
let
her.
Laura do when
My
she was
eyes
scared of
filled
thunder.
instantly with tears.
After a few quiet
I
moments,
tried to blink them
Ethan
away,
whispered,
but one
Grandma,
slipped down my cheek.
do you think Mom
I
ever
couldn't
gets
believe what I
lonely
was
when she
hearing.
works at the
Of
hospital?
all the things my
I
husband
wasn't
could
sure
have
how to
said,
answer at first.
those words
Laura was
pierced straight
always
through me.
so strong.
Henry
always
had been
putting
the
others
love of
first.
my life,
But I knew
we
Ethan
married
could
young,
see more than he
raised
let on.
2 beautiful
I
children,
stroked his hair
and
gently
built a life
and said,
full of memories.
I
both
think
simple
everyone
and
feels
grand.
lonely sometimes.
His sudden passing,
even when
had
they're
left a
surrounded
hole in
by
me
people.
that time hadn't
But
fully
that's why
healed.
family is
Though I had
important.
carried on,
We remind
helped
each
my
other daughter
were
with
never
Noah,
really
and kept
alone.
myself busy with church
Ethan
groups
nodded
and gardening,
and seemed to think
there
about
were
that
nights
for a
when I
long
still
time
cried
before drifting
quietly,
off to sleep,
missing his presence,
I stared
his
out at the
laughter,
storm
his steady
and realized
hand
that
in
my
mine.
grandson
And
wasn't
now,
just a little boy anymore.
here's my grandson.
He was beginning to
telling me
understand the
words
world
that
in
felt
ways
as though
that
they
came
touched my
directly
heart.
from Henry
By the
himself.
time Charles returned
I
from his
hugged
trip,
Noah
the
tightly.
hotel stay had
My
come
heart
to an
swelling
end.
with emotion.
Ethan and
Thank
I
you,
packed our
sweetheart,
things,
I
and
whispered.
he insisted
That
on
means
helping me
so
carry
much
the
to me.
suitcase,
He
even though
hugged
it was
me back,
almost as big
his
as he
small
was.
arms squeezing
As we checked
as if he
out,
somehow
he
understood
slipped his
the
hand
depth
into
of
mine
what
and
he had
said,
just given me.
"Grandma,
We sat in
can we do
silence
this again
for a while,
sometime?"
not
soft
just
hum
because
of
of
the
the
night
pool,
filling the
but
space
because,
between us.
well, it felt
Then
special.
Noah looked up again,
Tears
his
welled
eyes
in my
big
eyes,
and earnest.
and I squeezed
"Grandma,
his hand. Do you think
of
dreams
course,
are real,
sweetheart?
Like
Anytime
really real?
you want."
I thought
When
carefully
Charles picked
before
us up at the
answering.
hotel,
I think
Ethan
dreams can be
immediately
very
launched
real
into stories
in the
about
way
our
they make us
adventures.
feel.
The hike,
Sometimes
the
I
storm,
believe they're more
the
than
late
just
night
pictures
movies,
in our head.
and even the waffles from the
Sometimes
breakfast bar
I think
that he
they're a way
swore
for
were the
love to
best
reach
in the
us.
world. Even
I
when
sat
someone is far
quietly,
away,
listening,
he
smiling,
smiled
and
feeling
satisfied
grateful
with my
for the
answer and
unexpected
yawned.
gift of those few
I
days.
kissed the top of his
What I
head.
hadn't expected
Now,
when I
let's get
first
back to
booked
bed,
that
okay?
hotel room was how
He
much
nodded,
closer Ethan
but
and
before
I
he
would
slid off
become.
the bed,
Life
he
had
turned
thrown
back
a
to
broken
me
pipe
and
into
said
my
something
plans,
else.
but
Something
it also
that
gave me a
truly left me
chance to build
speechless.
memories with my
Grandma,
grandson that
Grandpa
I'll cherish
said
forever.
he'll always be
And
with
maybe,
us. Just maybe
even when
he'll
we
look back
can't
one
see
day
him,
and remember
he
not
said
just the
love
swimming pool
never
or the
goes
waffles,
away,
but the laughter,
I was
the
stunned.
talks, and the
Those were
feeling
words
of being
Henry
loved
used to tell me
completely.
when I was worried
Because
about something.
sometimes that
What you
love
don't expect
never
turns
goes
out
away,
to be exactly
no matter what
needed
life
all
throws at
along.
us.
How could Noah know that? It wasn't something I had ever told him, nor had Emily. It was something private between Henry and me. My lips parted, but no sound came out. I just stared at my grandson, my heart pounding with wonder and disbelief. After tucking him back into bed, I returned to my room and sat in the quiet darkness, unable to sleep. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but they weren't the heavy, sorrowful tears I'd cried so often since Henry's death. They were lighter, gentler, like a release I hadn't known I needed. It felt as though Henry had reached across the veil of time and space to comfort me through the innocent voice of our grandson. And in that moment, I believed it. I believed he was still with me, still watching, still proud. The rest of the weekend with Noah was filled with laughter and little adventures. We went for walks, made pancakes with too many chocolate chips, and built forts in the living room. Yet, through it all, I carried those words in my heart, glowing like a lantern inside me. When Emily and Daniel returned, I debated whether to tell them what had happened. Part of me feared they might brush it off as a child's imagination, but another part of me knew I needed to share it. When I finally told Emily, she grew quiet, tears filling her eyes. "Mom," she whispered, "Dad used to tell me the same thing too. That love never goes away." And in that moment I knew. It wasn't just a dream. It was a message.